see I've got people coming in on TikTok already, and Instagram and YouTube. You are pretty much ready to go as well. So in this session, it's going to be quite an open one, just a Q&A, because there's been so many questions that are coming in now that it's getting close to exam season. So for this one, I'm having it open for GCSE, for A-level, questions about revision, anything about the exams in particular as well. So I'm going to wait to see if questions start to come in as people are joining. I also need to find... I'm going to do split screen on my laptop temporarily, just so I can see Instagram and YouTube questions simultaneously, because I've got TikTok there on my phone, so I can see those no problem. Sorry, I'm ducking temporarily. I'm just ducking so I can actually see behind all my camera gear and get to questions. There we go. Okay, so I can see one question's come in on YouTube. Is it too late to make notes on the content? Questions like, is it too late? I always think it's never too late, because you've still got time. So you've still got time. I wouldn't say to spend loads of time making notes, because that does take a long time to do, and you need to be actively testing yourself. So you're better off getting a set of notes. I've got notes that you can get on my website, or spending time blurting and doing flashcards. I'd recommend. Some said, are you in year 13? I'm assuming that's to the student, not to me. What are some paper 1 AQA A-level biology topics that you think are going to come up this year? Meiosis and mass transport in plants, I reckon. Do you think I should move to past papers, or can I still do topic questions? It's still fine doing topic questions now, but I think probably within the next couple of weeks, start to try doing some exam questions. Right, will you be doing predictions this year? I never do predictions, by the way, just to make that clear. I don't ever call them predictions, but I do already have one essay video up on my YouTube channel about titles that I recommend that you plan. I've got another one coming up probably in a few weeks once I filmed it. Do you think I should move... Oh, I've done that one. How should we recap the content that we still don't know? And should we work on all weak topics regardless of which paper for A-level? I would prioritise paper 1 first and then paper 2, because you do have a bit of a gap, and make sure you are doing your weaker topics. And if you feel like you don't know them yet, that's when you can use things like your textbook or my YouTube videos to try and help you to understand the content now, and then blurting, flashcards, testing each other, things like that to really help you understand the information before you then go on to exam questions. Oh, thank you. I just saw someone on YouTube saying, congrats on the 100K. Woo, thank you. Yeah, that's been a long time coming, and it was a big deal for me personally at the weekend. Really enjoyed seeing that number tick over. What topics do you think, well, I haven't actually looked at the AS what I think will come up. I'm on a C and I really want an A. How many hours do I need to do per day? There's not like a set number of hours, and it obviously depends on everyone's commitments and how many contact hours they have at school versus study leave. But the main thing is making sure you understand, remember, and you've done the practice. And as it gets closer to exams, I mean, it was different. When I did it, I had study leave for 2 weeks before I had any exams, and I did 8 hours a day. That I did that in year 12, and the way I managed that, because people are always alarmed when I say that, but I was on pure study leave, so I was just at home, and I managed that because I followed my school timetable, which meant I'd already done 5 or 6 hours by 3:30 or 5 p.m. Not 3:30, 3:30 or 4 p.m. and then I just did 2 extra hours in the evening. It takes off the time. Right, let me check, because I was looking at TikTok. Let me go back to Instagram now. Do you reckon that a lot of meiosis and mitosis calculations would come up? Meiosis potentially. Mitosis did come up recently, so I'm not so sure about that one. Where can I get to mark my 25 mark essay during Easter to improve? I actually am reopening my essay marking service in a week and a half. So I offer to mark essays. It's one of the things that you can purchase on my website. Or if you are a member of the Biology Study Club, which is my membership, then I mark work every month for you in that. So you can do that. A lot of my students have been submitting essays for me to mark as part of that. Is doing 12 hours of work a day bad? Yeah, that does not sound sustainable or healthy. That is far too much, because like someone once said to me that try and think of it during exam season, splitting your day into a third. So 8 hours working, 8 hours sleeping, 8 hours to do what you want. And it won't literally be in those chunks, it'll be split up. But I think that's a good balance to make sure you are getting in the sleep, you are getting in time for yourself, and also getting in the work. What are the cycles AQA does for similar papers? Is it around 2020 to 21? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that, because they don't tend to recycle papers. It's just there's certain topics that commonly get assessed because they're so fundamental, and then some that are maybe assessed every year or every 2 years. Let me just see those questions. Is a month to go from a B to an A star enough? Again, those questions, it's not possible to say for anyone. For me, definitely, because there's so many variables that can affect that I don't know about. But people do make a lot of progress in the last few months. Are there any crash courses? I don't know if I'd call it a crash course, but I've just finished with Olivia the biology boot camp over Easter. And if you didn't come to those live, you are able to access the recordings, the workbooks. We're going to make those live probably from Monday or Tuesday. So we did all exam techniques this week, so you can buy access to those recordings. And then also I have my pick and mix lessons, which if you go onto my Instagram and just comment on any story or post, pick as in like PICK, my pick and mix lessons are 1 hour live tuition lessons, which cover a range of skills, a range of topics, some of them the night before the exam to get in there and help you with last minute advice and help. And those have only just opened up, but 20% of them have already sold out of the amount that I have. So if you are interested in that live help, I've got it for GCSE and for A-level, then yeah, just head over to my Instagram and just either send me a DM that says pick, or it's on my website as well. Let me see. Do you only help with AQA? For the pick and mix lessons, yes, it is. My biology study club is OCR and AQA. I've got an AQA examiner and an OCR examiner and teacher who teach in my club. But in terms of what I've got on YouTube and my resources, I've got AQA, OCR and Cambridge International. What's the one topic guaranteed to come up? Oh, there's no guarantee of anything, so you can't guarantee anything. I would say, though, photosynthesis and respiration, one or the other of those pretty much comes up every year. What's the best way to revise required practicals? Oh, that's a great question. So the required practicals, in the spec, there's actually an apparatus and techniques page and required practicals. And the apparatus and techniques tells you the types of questions they could ask you. And I've actually got a required practical workbook for every single practical. It tells you the common questions, those answers, and exam style questions and answers, as well as explaining the practicals. So if you're interested in that, just send me a message saying practicals on Instagram or an email. Or if you don't want to buy things, I completely understand that as well. I've got on YouTube my practicals playlist for free going through that. How to revise graph questions. I've got a video on that on YouTube. I'm going to say it's everything there. I've got a video about that on YouTube. The graph questions, it depends like what you mean, because there's so many different types of graph questions. But I would say practice. So practicing those questions is key if you struggle with the data analysis ones. What's the biggest weakness you see in students? Oh, that's a good one. I'd say the most common things are the clarity of answer. So what you write in the exam, sometimes it's clear you've understood it, but you're not explaining yourself thoroughly enough. And that's when students get frustrated that they feel they've written the right answer, but the mark scheme's really specific. But actually it's just a reflection that you haven't fully remembered or understood really important details in your explanation. So clarity of answer is probably the biggest one, as well as application questions are tough. So those two. What A-level biology titles are likely to come up? So the three that I've said so far that are potentials, doesn't mean they're likely because it's all just data analysis. I don't have any hidden insights, but I've suggested maybe preparing for the title of the importance of water, a title linked to DNA, and proteins controlling processes. But I've got the full video on my YouTube channel. Those are just like the general themes. There's one about proteins controlling processes, one about DNA, one about water. How can I improve AO2 questions? Please, my help. My mock is on Tuesday, so AO2, if you go to my website, I've got a pack of free questions called the Skills Assessment Bundle, and do the application ones. And also, if you watch my video on application questions, then you can combine those. And also, that was one of the bootcamp video lessons that Olivia and I did. I think Olivia taught that one. I can't remember now because I know I taught it to GCSE, so I'm getting confused. What should we do the night before the biology exam? Come to my pick a mix. Before all of the biology exams, I'm doing a 1 hour lesson, which is focusing on key tips to prepare for that exam, reviewing the hardest topics and the topics that I think are most likely to come up. So the pick a mix, the nights before the exam, I'd recommend you come to those, but those are AQA specific, those ones. What are the hardest topics for year 13 biology? That's going to be subjective. It's what everyone finds hardest or not, because I personally think gene technologies is what most students find hardest, particularly because the questions are really difficult, and also people often find the homeostasis topics hard, so blood glucose control and the control of water potential of the blood. Someone said, how much are the pick and mix lessons? It's £15 for one lesson, or there's 9 of them in total. If you want to come to all 9, then you end up getting a discount, and you get my essay workbook thrown in as well. If you are a student who gets the bursary, you can send me a message as well with evidence you received that, and you get 25% off. How can I access the Easter revision course recordings? Someone asks. They're not available just yet because we finished it today and we've got to load up the recordings and make them available. So they should be available from Monday or Tuesday on my website, so missestruck.co.uk. And also both Olivia and I will post about it on our Instagram, and I'm sure she'll do it on TikTok as well. So you'll see us talk about it on there. You'll also find it on my website, missestruck.co.uk. What paper do I think is the hardest? Every year it sways, because for a while I used to think paper 1, because there were quite a lot of difficult things that were coming up in paper 1. More recently I'd say paper 2, because there's so much application, and I think those gene technology questions are really hard as well. Let's see, I'm going to go back to YouTube to see some questions. For mitotic index, do we consider cytokinesis as well? They make it really obvious when you have to work out the mitotic index. Any cell that you can visibly see the chromosomes, you count as undergoing mitosis. If it just looks like a blurry squiggle inside of a nucleus, then you don't count that as a mitosis. Do you have videos on interpreting practical questions, like ones that aren't required? I don't know if I have got anything like that on YouTube, because most of the things I've got are linked to the required practicals, but I do have that in my practical workbook because it goes through the 12 required practicals, but then the other practicals that commonly come up as well. Do you think A-level biology grade boundaries will increase this year? Oh, do you know what? I'm filming a YouTube video on that next week on what the potential grade boundaries will be. But as I always say, this is all just based on data analysis, because I love data analysis. So I'll be showing, based on data analysis, potential grade boundaries. But obviously you need to bear in mind, grade boundaries are a reflection of how you actually perform as a cohort. So it completely depends on how you all perform. If everyone doesn't do very well, the grade boundaries go down. If everyone does really well, the grade boundaries go up, because they have to take into account the papers might not be exactly the same level of challenge every year. So that's why they shift the grade boundaries to account for that. How to answer questions which say explain the role of something. So for that, it's going to be linking to your knowledge. So whatever it is, they might say, what is the role of ATP in muscle contraction, for example? And I've actually got a YouTube video that I did on that recently, the role of ATP, the role of calcium ions, the role of glycogen in muscle contraction. And to be able to answer those questions, you need to have really good knowledge on muscle contraction to be able to know that the ATP is used for linking to the binding of and the unbinding of the myosin head, the power stroke, and also to actively transport the calcium ions back into the endoplasmic reticulum. Do I recommend predicted papers? It depends what you mean by that, because if it's a paper which has got a bank of exam questions in, then that's going to be helpful because you are doing practice questions. What I don't recommend is that if you use predicted papers, that you assume that it's going to be accurate, because it might be accurate, but it might not, because anyone that makes predicted papers, it will be based on data analysis, just like I do for my YouTube videos, which sometimes that means it does match up, sometimes it doesn't, because AQA won't always fit the pattern. So predicted papers have a place because it's good practice, but don't use them thinking that means that's literally what's going to come up, and not revise anything else. What would be the best revision strategy at this time? Oh, you should see my... I just realised how much I sound like Gavin and Stacey there. Watch my video that I just put on YouTube 2 days ago, because it says the 1 month revision plan, and it literally recommends what you should be doing every week between now and your A-levels. Is there always a comprehension question in paper 1? For AQA A-level, it's always in paper 2. For AQA AS, it's always on paper 1. So for AS, it's 10 marks at the back of paper 1. For A-level, it's 15 marks at the back of paper 2. Do you think module 2 will come up a lot, like meiosis especially? That sounds like an OCR question rather than AQA, and I can't remember off the top of my head. I think I've got my OCR not predictions, don't like that word, my OCR commonly assessed topics for paper 1 already up on YouTube. Paper 2 I've just filmed, and that's coming out very soon, and paper 3 is coming out. So that's what someone was saying on TikTok about the OCR predictions. They're not predictions, it's just going through all the past papers, what commonly comes up, what didn't come up in 2024, and therefore topics that are going to be ones to prioritise. Has your paper 1 AQA predictions video come out yet? It's not called predictions, but no, it's not being released until the 18th of May. I can't release it until you're all on study leave, basically, because I say something about something that comes up in papers in 2024, and they're not actually unlocked papers yet, so I'm not allowed to release it until that point. Even though I filmed it ages ago, I realised because I talked about the 2024 papers, I wasn't allowed to release it yet. So it's on hold, but that's why the paper 2 one's come out already. How many hours should I revise every day? That's come up already. It depends on what other commitments you have, but ideally 2 hours per subject per day at the moment if you're still in school, but that is assuming you have study periods at school, because you don't have 6 hours free in the evening. If you missed me saying this at the start, try and think of your day as 8 hours sleep, 8 hours work, 8 hours to do what you want. That's your 24 hours, but it doesn't literally have to be a chunk of 8 hours work, chunk of 8 hours to do what you want, but try and plan your day like that and you should have enough time. Let's see. Can I go up a grade with so little time left? Yep, if you're putting in the effort and doing the right sorts of work, it is possible to improve still, because you've still got a month. Let me just bend down because I've got something in the way here. For A-level Practical 9, could they ask questions about the TTC method? I've only ever seen respirometers. Yes, same. I've only ever seen respirometers come up. Doesn't mean they can't ask about TTC, but I've only ever asked them about respirometers. I can't lie, so much application questions, especially with maths questions in biology. Yeah, there are a lot of application questions. 56% on paper 2. Opinions on Amoeba Sisters. Oh, absolutely love the Amoeba Sisters. They're amazing. I have biology club. Are you going to post more things on it? I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean you're a member of the biology study club? If you do, the biology study club, there's 10 live lessons a month. So there's loads of live lessons of a month. That's not going to increase around study period because it's like a set amount you get, but you also get the mark your work. There's the study chats. There is challenges set, and you've got all of the resources and extras as well. Let me see. Should we do the comprehension question first for paper 2? No, I don't recommend that you do, It's obviously your choice, but I don't recommend that you do because they are hard questions. Their application, and you tend to perform better on it when you're warmed up, as in like your brain's warmed up, you've done the whole paper. So I recommend do them at the end. The extended response ones I do recommend you start on because those are easier in the sense that they're typically knowledge retrieval. Someone keeps asking opinions on people being allowed music in some exams. I mean, I don't really know much about that. Didn't know this was a thing, but if it's someone's got particular needs, that means they're going to be able to access an A level in the same way someone else will to take into account their own personal medical needs, and I don't see why that's an issue. How many hours of revision a day would you recommend? I keep getting asked the same question. 8, 8, 8. 8 sleep, 8 revision, 8 do what you want. Do you think we should start with the essay? No. Start by looking at the essay, then go and do all of the questions and write the essay in the final 45 minutes because your brain will be subconsciously coming up with ideas for the essay. Do you think A levels are harder than a degree? I found my degree so much harder than my A levels, but my education isn't traditional in the sense of what people normally find. So I found GCSEs the hardest. I found A levels the easiest. Actually, no, degree, GCSE, A level. That's what I found in terms of the level of difficulty. But I missed most of year 9 and year 10 at school because I was ill. That's probably why I found GCSE so hard, and I missed a chunk of year 11. So I self-taught myself a lot of the GCSE as well as being homeschooled and catching it up a lot. So I found GCSEs the hardest. I think I found A levels the easiest because during my GCSEs I learnt to self-teach, and I was so keen when it got to A levels that suddenly everyone was back at the beginning and I wasn't catching up, and I wasn't that ill during my A levels, that I worked so hard that I found A levels easier. Then I got to uni and didn't work as hard, so then I found it harder because I just didn't put in the same level of effort, which was a mistake. How can you improve your graph and maths and comprehension skills? Practice. For all 3 of those things you've listed, I've got YouTube videos on to go through approaches. I've got free questions on my websites for all of those, but I've also got a maths skill bundle that goes through every single maths skill, how to do it, modelled examples, practice questions and answers. Someone says, are you ignoring me or can you just not see my comments? I'm number 1 because of how many times I've asked. I'm not ignoring you. I've got Instagram, I've got YouTube, and I've got TikTok, and I'm looking between them. Whatever it is you've said, I just missed it several times. What other A levels did you do? I did chemistry, geography, and biology A level, and I did physics AS, and I did biology at the University of Nottingham. Let's see. Is there any patterns that form a question once you do enough past papers? Yeah, if you do loads of past papers, you start to see common questions, common mark scheme points. That's why I'm able to do what I do, because I've done this since 2009, teaching in schools, and now online as well. Looking at all the past papers every single year, that I just know these patterns now. Do you think we have enough time to improve exam technique if you know the content? Yes, definitely still do. That's why I released my exam technique mastery. It was almost a month ago now, maybe 3 weeks, because this is the perfect time to be focusing on it. Someone's asking about English predictions. Oh, yeah, sorry. Biology teacher, so I don't know. But I did an inspector course when I was doing my GCSEs. And I did Macbeth. Great books, don't remember them though. How big is the jump from year 12 to year 13 bio? It is quite big. I normally do a YouTube video on this every year. It's more the work style is different because you have more biology lessons, so you cover content quicker. The mark schemes are more specific and there's more application. What do you think is the most complex topic in your opinion? Probably gene technologies. Is this A level or GCSE? Both, just doing generic questions. What do I do if I keep on getting applications wrong despite doing practice? Maybe you don't remember the information in enough detail yet. So go back and think, have I definitely secured my subject knowledge? Oh, I didn't, like you say, my cat's cute. I've only just realised she's sat there. Secure your subject knowledge, practice. And that's the main thing, really. I haven't learned all the content yet. Am I not going to get high grades? No, it's fine. A lot of people will probably have just finished or maybe finish in a couple of weeks. How do you balance time between each subject? So if the topic you set yourself to cover runs over, you're set 2 hours. Everyone's different. For me, I was quite strict because I like a regimented timetable. So if I said I was doing 2 hours of geography, I stopped at that 2-hour point, took my break, and then I started my chemistry. And if I didn't cover what I wanted to cover, I made a note of that and I carried that over. Other people might think I'd rather carry on until I finished it and then just delay everything. Do I know anyone who went from a C or B to an A from now onwards? There is always someone, like whenever I've had year 13s and GCSE students, every single year, and this was highlighted in the COVID years when we had to do those predicted grades and teacher assessed grades, every year there's some students who get exactly what you think, and most students get exactly what we think. There's always some students who you think are going to get really high grades who end up getting lower, and then there's always some students who have been really low or in the middle and they somehow smash it and they go up loads. So there is always the possibility to go up massively at the end. Most people carry on at what they're at. Some people go up a lot. Right, it's past. I'm going to end it here. If you have found this session helpful, having this chance to actually ask questions and answer, then let me know, because I can do more Q&A sessions like this rather than me showing the work and answering exam questions and doing that sort of thing. So if you have found this helpful, then let me know and I'll do more of them. That is it for today though, but just as a reminder, 2 things I wanted to remind you about. Number 1, I'm doing a free essay workshop on the 28th, the 29th and the 30th of April. So if you want to come to that, send me a message on Instagram that says essay and I'll send you the link to sign up for free. You get the recording as well if you can't come live. Number 2 is my pick and mix lessons are now live, and those are the online revision lessons. I do them the night before the exams, but also they're scattered between May and June to cover the hardest A-level topics. GCSE the night before the exam, GCSE long answer questions, A-level comprehension, A-level practicals for paper 1, A-level practicals for paper 2, and some other exam techniques. Oh, the essay. The essay's already the most popular one. It's only just come out, and the essay, already a third of the places have gone, and that's the night before the exam for the essay. So, actually, no, I remember I didn't cap the essay now because so many people wanted to come. Anyway, pick a mix. You can send me a message on Instagram, just say pick. And the essay to come to the free class I've got in a week and a half, just send me a message saying essay. And that's it. Good luck with your revision, everyone. Have a great Easter, because obviously it's Good Friday tomorrow. We've got Easter Sunday. We've got Easter Monday. Enjoy all your Easter eggs if you've got some. If you don't celebrate Easter, enjoy the weekend. And I'll see you all soon. But that is it for today. So I'm going to say goodbye. Enjoy your evening. And I'll see you soon, everyone. And now I just need to make sure I definitely end the